Melanie, girl, these are not your friends. And the sooner you see that, the better for you. But then again, you're still going to do whatever you want to do when it comes to that slime ball because every time he gives you the bare minimum, you go right back into his arms and says, I'm not going to hold you, but at this point, you'll need to go home.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I'm your girl Kay, and today we're recapping Love Island USA season 8. We're on episode 27. There wasn't too much happening in this episode. I mean, it was a little I would say boring. But before we break down this episode, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more recaps like this one. So let's just get into this episode. We pick up with Anaya filling in Trinity and Melanie on her conversation with Casey. She's saying that he owned up to everything he said, and that's the most genuine she's seen him. She wishes him well, but she's not the kind of person to hold on to grudges. She also talks about how she and Carl have a lot of great sexual chemistry because they're always making out. And I said, okay, girl, okay. So then we see Casey filling in insincere and Corbin about his conversation with Anaya. He's saying that she was a lot more understanding than before. He said he felt like if he was more transparent with things, it would have gone a lot differently. But for me, it wasn't more so about the transparency, it was more so about the shit talking that was unnecessary. And how come Insincere isn't talking about how shitty he feels? Because we have seen Casey acknowledge that what he said was wrong, but all we've seen is excuses from Insincere. Meanwhile, Melanie's telling the girls that all Sincere has are just words and it has no weight. She said that there's a side to her that feels like a fool because she has these feelings for him, and then there's a side of her that feels like she deserves better. Now, even in that, I wish these girls would have told her that she does deserve better because she definitely does deserve better. As a friend, I would never sit around and watch a guy treat you that way and encourage you to continue to pursue him, okay? But instead, we saw Trinity telling her to keep trying with Sincere, and I'm like, why? Why, Trinity? It doesn't make sense to me, okay? He said to her the same things over and over again, and there still hasn't been any changes. Y'all haven't seen any changes. And then it's like, Anaya, you're talking about your team Sincere, your team Sincere. I just don't understand why they're running around, or not running around, beating around the bush when it comes to Sincere and Melanie's dynamics. Clearly, they don't really care about this girl, and it shows. But I don't know, girl, these are not your friends. Sincere then says that he has this foundation that's built of straws, and honestly, I'm so sick of him and his analogies. He says that he has a lot more to give Melanie, and I said, yeah, a lot more heartache and pain because that's all you've given her. Then we see Caleb saying to Bryce that since he's been back in the villa, Jaden hasn't really talked to him, not once. She never compliments him unless he's the one complimenting her. She never talks about life outside of the villa, and he wants reassurance. So Jaden's not too far from him, and she's hearing what they're saying, and then she's pissed off. So she walks up to him, and she's like, "Can you come chat with me instead of talking to other people?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Caleb, you know what she means, okay?" So they go chat. Meanwhile, we see Miss Clownsy saying, oh, he always jumps into conclusion. Like on the dog, he thought Corbin and I kissed and the whole house ran with it. Girls, shut up. You shouldn't be saying anything at this point. You're the last person to talk, honestly. So anyways, Jaden and Caleb chat, right? So he asks if she's mad at him for asking advice on how to approach the situation with her. And so she's like, you should be talking to me instead of going to other people, right? Now, I mean, I understand both sides because, like I said in my last recap, why am I saying so many mistakes? Caleb should be talking to Jaden about how he feels instead of going to the other islanders. I said that, okay? So she says that he is too focused on a connection, wanting to know if she has a connection. Do they have a connection? Is he feeling a connection? But she wants to know more about him and that the conversations are pretty bland. He said, well, I need to know that we have a connection because it's coming off like you're not into me. She says they don't even talk about random stuff, but what's the point of having affection and kissing and doing all of that stuff if she doesn't really know, you know, anything really deep about him? Now, I don't know why she was so hyped up about the situation. I didn't really understand her reaction towards him. For me, it was a little bit off putting because I didn't think it was that serious. Yes, I would have felt a way if my connection is talking to other people before talking to me. But it was just like exaggerated in my opinion. But she does apologize and says that she does want to get to know him and she doesn't know the things that make him him, and these are the things that are important to her. So, anyways, they end the conversation and they're good, they're fine, they made up. So the islanders get ready for bed, and as they're doing so, we see Melanie asking Corbin if she should sleep next to Sincere. He tells her that it's up to her. He's in no position to tell her what she should or shouldn't do. Now, the fact that she's asking them shows that she's not really comfortable sleeping in the bed with him. And also, if I was Sincere, I probably would have not slept in the bed because she's already not slept in the bed one night. The least she could have done to quote unquote show her was to not sleep in the bed again, but Cynthia's gonna do what Cynthia wants to do. So then Caleb's filling in the guys and saying, what's the point of telling you the intimate things about me if I don't even know if you're into me? And I kind of agree with him. That's why I said earlier that I see both sides. Because if I know you're not really into me like that, why would I tell you my deepest, darkest thoughts? I'm not going to do that, right? So then Anaya's telling Melanie to forgive Sincere because she's rooting for them. And they're going at it so loud that the guys can hear them yelling. Anyways, Melanie does decide to sleep in the bed with Sincere. And of course, once he sees that, he already knows that she's not going anywhere, okay? Because so all that talk she was talking, all that yap she was yapping, all that yell she was yelling, telling him, you need to fix it, you need to fix it. It's fixed. It's fixed, okay? So we get to the next morning, and like I said, he knows Melanie is not going anywhere, and he's telling the guys, oh, it's progress because she slept in the bed with him. So then all the girls have gotten breakfast besides Melanie, so she's telling the girls that she's going to go do herself breakfast. So then Anaya's saying, girl, I'm team sincere, I'm team sincere. And if I want to be team sincere, that's just what I'm gonna do. And I said, girl, shut up. In fact, you could go home too, because I don't know, I'm just not really liking this Anaya anymore. So Kida said to her, what's about Team Melanie's feelings? And I said, exactly, because you're not a friend, Anaya. You're not, okay? So then we see his ugly behind walking into the girls' dressing room with a rose in his hand. And when he does that, the girls, Anaya and Kida, they start screaming and making noise. Melanie has a big old smile on her face. He takes her to Speak Easy, where he has his little breakfast set up for the two of them, right? Meanwhile, Anaya and Kida, they're in there screaming, I'm Team Sincere, I'm Team Sincere. And I said, y'all are just corny as hell. Now, honestly, I'm so sick of seeing Sincere on my screen. And we know every time he looks down to talk, he's lying. He just can't look the girls in the eyes when he's talking. So we know he's a liar. So she asked about what makes him better when he has a bad day. And if I'm right, he said something about Rita's. I don't know if that's a restaurant. I don't know what it is. I guess you would know. So she says she needs more days like the little setup before she can move forward with him. But we all know she's good. She's happy. She said she needs more days, but that little gesture he did was enough for her, okay? Jaden and Caleb talk. He apologizes about how things went down between them. She also apologizes for for the way she reacted and she responded. Caleb said it's just kind of how he grew up. He would go to his siblings when he needed advice, and that was kind of what he was doing by going to the islanders to ask advice on how to deal with the situation when it came to Jaden. So then we see Kato telling Jen and Clownsy about the date since they planned for Melanie, and it's given she was jealous. She was feeling some type of way because Zach hasn't done anything like that for her. They've been intimate at this point, so she's expecting him to be a little bit more romantic. But we all know that Zach is not really into Kato, he's really into Bryce, right? So Jen says that she's feeling some type of way because everyone has their person and she hasn't had anyone since coming into the villa. She is saying that she wonders when it's going to be her turn, and I really felt bad for Jen. I felt bad for her. I understand how she feels so much. And I just said, girl, your person will find you, okay? Trust and believe that as soon as you leave this villa, your person is out there waiting, okay? I am manifesting it for you. So Gal talks to Dylan. He says that Jen is pissed. But what I'm trying to understand is why Dylan is saying, oh, she has negative energy. What was she supposed to be doing? Skipping around the villa all happy? Like you, Dylan. We haven't forgotten how much of an instigator you are when it comes to your casa guys, right? When your girl was just kissing on Gal and you were crying like a baby, right? You remember that? With your fake crocodile tears, the tears that we never saw. Yeah, we remember that. So please go away. Anyways, Gal's trying to stay in the villa and he feels like he has a chance with Amora. He said he likes her, but she's not giving him that type of energy. And I said, Gal, please, you two, go away. Get out of the villa, will you? We know that at this point his plan backfired, right? Because he really thought he could have switched over to Kenzie, but little did he know that she's just a sampler. She's gonna sample every guy that she gets. Remember, she said a kiss is like a handshake. So she's gonna kiss who she wants to kiss, right? And so you thought you caught Kenzie, but little did you know that she was telling you the same thing that she had told all the other guys before you, girl. So your plan backfired in your face. And I don't know why Dylan was lying to him, saying that he's good looking. Like, are you okay? Anyways, Jaden's talking to Kata and Anaya about her argument with Caleb and says that she does see them being together outside of the villa. And she feels like the argument brought them closer to each other. Do I believe her? Absolutely not. I don't think she's into Caleb. I don't think Caleb is even her type because we did see her saying in an earlier episode that she is used to guys who are a bit more assertive and Caleb's just not that. So she's not going to take him really serious at all. We haven't really seen her showing him that she even cares just a little bit. So I don't know who Jaden thinks she's fooling, right? Caleb then gets a text letting them know that there's a recoupling and the boys will be choosing. And so the girl left and single will be vulnerable and sent home. So the couples are all trying to have all the little conversations. We see Gal have a chat with Amora. Now, if I'm not mistaken, she made a comment earlier in the episode saying that she's not going to force anything just to stay in the villa, right? Tell me you all heard that, okay? But in her conversation with Gal, she tells him that Jen was dogging him in the dressing room. And my thing is, girl, what the hell? Because first of all, Jen did not lie about the way Gaul just switched up on her, right? He definitely used her to stay in the villa, right? He showed interest in her, but the moment he was solidified in staying in the villa, he was done with her and then made up a fake argument because like I said, he thought he would have been with Kenzie, okay? And turns out that didn't really work out for him, and so his only other option is Amora. And I said, Amora, how about you go home too, okay? You all are pissing me the hell off. Now, so we get to later in the evening. We see God telling the guys what Amora told him, and he's wondering if she just told him that to get picked, but you're still gonna pick her anyways. So everyone gets dressed up and they head straight to the fire pit. We then see the queen of the villa walking in, Ariana Maddox, and all I have to say is wow, okay? She is pulling off all of the looks this season. Just amazing. So let's get straight into the recoupling. The girls are all asked to stand in the front of the fire pit. Bryce then goes first. Each of the guys will pick the girl they would like to couple up with and say why. So Bryce goes up first. We all know he's picking Trinity. Next up was Zach, and we know he's also picking Kader. Corbin was next, and we know he chose Palmida. Dylan was next. He chose his favorite clown, Clownsy. Cleansy. Clownsy. Next up was Carl. He chose to couple up with Anaya. And he said, even though revenge is sweet, this girl is sweeter. I said, okay, he has the lyrics. We see you, Carl. Next up was Casey, and we already know he chose Tierra. Next up was Sincere, and he had a big old smile on his face. Sincere gives his little speech, and it had nothing to do with how great of a person Melanie is. All the other guys talked about how amazing the girl is, but no, not Sincere, because he said everything that had to do with him. Okay, time and time again, she put me first before she picked herself, right? That is what he said. Yeah, because she's your doormat. She is your doormat, Sincere. That's what you see her as. You will do her whatever you want to do, and you know she's going to stick beside her man. That's why you keep picking her over and over again. And even if she says being picked is not a reward, it is a reward, because you keep putting yourself in that position, and then when he messes up, you're crying, you're yelling, you're screaming and telling him to fix it. But anyways, he chose Melanie. Next was Caleb, and he chose Jaden to couple up with. Lastly was Gaul, and by his little speech talking about how he's not forcing anything, I knew he was going to pick Amora, which means that Jen was dumped from the villa. Now I just knew this recoupling was too simple, too easy, too good to be true. There are just way too many people in the villa at this point. So Ariana lets them know that 4 more islanders will be leaving the villa. In other words, 2 couples are going home as well. So the islanders say their goodbyes to Jen. We do see her and Clownsy talking and saying that they found a best friend in each other. And so Jen makes her exit, and then all of the islanders head to the garden. So each of the couples, they're standing on a pod. They must each choose 2 couples they think is the least compatible, and must give them a broken heart face to face. So you must walk up to them and place a broken heart in their thingy, right? So she tells them it's not about friendship, so get your feelings out of it. And so she gives them a little time to discuss among themselves who they were going to choose. So Anaya and Carl go first. The first couple they pick is Amora and Gaul. The second couple was Jaden and Caleb. Trinity and Bryce were up next. First couple they voted for was Amora and Gaul. The second choice was Jaden and Caleb. Up next was Jaden and Caleb, and their first choice was Amora and Gaul. Their second couple was Kenzie and Dylan. It's now Kenzie and Dylan's turn, and their first choice was Amora and Gaul. The second couple was Palmida and Corbin, and it was definitely shots fired at Corbin, because Kenzie said that their relationship is very lustful, and all Corbin talks about is seeing himself in her. I don't really get that. But Palmida told her, girl, in case you didn't know, we're both beautiful. Okay, we work out. And you don't see the serious chats because you're not in our chats. I said, period. Period. Because how is the most lustful girl in the villa saying that Corbin and Palmida's relationship is lustful? You're just mad that you're not with him. Like, really? So it's now Corbin and Palmida's turn. Their first couple to dump is Amora and Gaul. Their second choice was Sincere and Melanie, and I absolutely get the explanation. All right. Corbin says that he felt like Sincere lied to them all, and for him, trust was broken because he was saying one thing to them, and they saw something different on a movie night, right? So Palmida shares that she feels like they do like each other, but their relationship is not healthy. It's toxic, and she tells Melanie that sometimes love is just not enough. And I appreciate her being real with Melanie in that moment and telling her that she deserves way better. That's what a real friend does. Even Melanie was able to acknowledge it. A real friend will tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hate. But a real friend will tell you the truth, not lead you down a path where you continue to find yourself being hurt. Okay? So it's Gaul and Amora's time to vote. Their first choice was Jaden and Caleb, and the second vote was for Melanie and Sincere. It's now time for Melanie and Sincere to vote, and the first choice was also for Amora and Gaul, and the second choice was for Kenzie and Dylan. Tiara and Casey voted next. Their first vote went to Amora and Gaul, and the second vote went to Kenzie and Dylan. Zach and Kada were next. They had the finale vote. The first couple they voted for was Amora and Gaul, and the second vote went to Caleb and Jaden. So the two couples going home are Amora and Gaul, and Caleb and Jaden. So everyone's saying goodbye. We do see Kenzie telling Parmida that she's sorry. And Parmida tells her, girl, you need to stop being petty because you think my connection is all about looks when it's not. And I really liked that Parmida called Kenzie out like that. Because I think it was Melanie who said she's settling with Dylan, and the only reason why she stopped exploring is because movie night came and everyone got to see what she was doing. Had that not happened, she would definitely still be playing between Gaul and Dylan. Okay. We also see Titi breaking down because two of her Casa sisters are leaving the villa. And I'm not even going to lie, I actually dropped a little teardrop seeing the way Titi broke down. Okay. But guys, this is where the episode ends. If you liked this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please share all of your thoughts on this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.